Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. Day 17, back at the V70. We're going to kick this off by replacing the brake lines. He wants all four replaced. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to do the front two. Maybe do the back two some other time. The back two usually don't have the issues that the front two have. You jack the car up, you take the wheel off, and most of these Volvos, if you look here, they have these cracked brake lines. So, need to replace those. And when you do, you'll actually feel better braking power because the new lines are normally stiffer and hold their form better, and they don't fluctuate. Now, it's really not a difficult task. However, when you get this bolt down here, you have to be real careful that you don't strip it. Make sure you have a good wrench on it. It may not even be a bad idea to cut the hose if you can and slide a socket over there to get that loose. Because if you damage it, strip it, it's just going to get worse getting it off. The older cars are a little more difficult. It looks like this has some kind of bracket that may hold it in position better and make it a safer task to complete. And as you can see here, the ABS wire is out of its clip up here. So we'll straighten that out. Now, brake fluid is evil. You want to catch that stuff. Any surfaces that it gets on, it strips them dry, whether it be painted surfaces, painted calipers, stuff like that. You don't want to let brake fluid have run of the mill. So make sure you are prepared to deal with the fluid that leaks out. It's critical not to contaminate your brake system, not to get dirt inside your caliper or something like that. So try to work as clean as possible. If you need to brush and clean this stuff off before you get started, that's great. This nut here is 14 millimeter. This is the tool I was referring to help you prevent messing up these brake lines. Okay, to get the brake line out, I just normally cut it, but the right thing probably to do is to get the back side. You hold it with one of these wonderful, I say 210 degree number 11s. You hold the actual line with a 14. You break it loose, which is a little difficult, but once you break it loose, you crank it all the way out. It comes out with this guide, then it unplugs. Now the line is out, and then you can take the front side loose, but that way you're not doing a bunch of twisting. So my next step is to screw the line, the new line in the front of the caliper, tighten it down, and then connect it on the back side. Now, if you don't want to be dripping brake fluid like I am here, you can get some caps from somewhere, sort of like I had on the front for a minute, and you can put it on there and kind of stop the dripping for a little while until you're ready to put the line back together. Screwed the front side in, tightened it, don't over tighten it, you don't want to be leaking forever. So snug it down, maybe another 1/8 of a turn, something like that, and you can check it for leaks. Then you thread the tip of the rear one in, shove the line in there, and get that started by hand. You only got one time to mess up that brass fitting and those threads on there, then you'll be turning a 30-minute job into a 3-day job. So go ahead and get that started by hand, screw it in, get it tight, and then you need to bleed the brakes. Here's the rear brake lines on these all-wheel drive vehicles, at least this V70R 99 model. And as you can see, there's a little cracking on this outer thing. I don't know if these have other cracking issues like the front ones do. Nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and replace them. So it looks like the 14 and 11, same setup. We'll break it loose on the front, screw it out on the back, and put the new lines in. Let me put that in on the front and see if we can get that broke loose. I'm going to try to spray it with a little bit of PB Blaster or something. When I break these loose, I use the squeeze method. I have this one here, and then I have this one up a little higher. like so. Let me get that on there. Then I squeeze that together like a hand grip to break that loose. So you're holding it steady, you're breaking it loose. Then when you're working this off, you know, be patient and don't fluctuate this back brake line too much. It's okay to let it fluctuate a little bit. Get that side loose, get this side loose. If you're in a rusty area, clean that stuff off. Try not to get anything in that hole when you're cleaning it off. And then put the caliper end on first. Make sure you get it in that bracket. Then hook up that side, put that in. After that, you want to bleed your brake. After you bleed your brake, you want to check for leaks. After you know it's not leaking, if you're in an area that accumulates rust, you may want to cover this stuff with some kind of grease or anti-seize or something like that to try to stop it from rusting in the future. That's not guaranteed, but hey, you got to give it your best effort. Now, once we get done with all the brake lines that we're going to replace, we're going to bleed them, and I believe the Volvo method is the furthest one away from the brake reservoir first, then the next one closer, then the next one closer, then the driver's side. So you'd go rear passenger, rear driver, passenger front, then driver front. Bleed them, get new fluid through them, because you know fluid's supposed to be replaced every 3 years or 50,000 miles, something like that, and have a good performing brake system. While you're in here, you want to check for other issues. Like you see here, this brake pad has probably 20% of its meat left, so you're going to need a brake job soon on this. They got calipers that are rusted, so they'll be doing that, you know, probably in about a year or something like that. Also check other things around. Look at the condition of your wheel well skirts. Make sure that stuff's intact. Clean out any drain holes you could find. Take a look at your Novats in your shocks back here. Make sure you're in good condition. And look for bushing wear and stuff like that while you're back here. And you should be good to go. Alright, all 4 brake lines are replaced. Now we're getting ready to do a bleeding system using a power bleeder. So this will be a different experience for me. We all got to learn sometime. The system, I'm not sure, but you could check your system. It should hold about 1 liter of brake fluid through the whole line system. So you want to fill up your bleeder with the fluid. You want to connect the special cap over to your brake fluid reservoir, and then you want to pressurize the bleeder up to between 10 and 20 psi. You can pump it up to 15 and make sure it holds that, because that's kind of letting you know you don't have a leak in the system. Now you want to go to the back of this car, because we're going to start on the passenger side rear. You want to hook up that container that's going to grab the fluid. Then you want to crack that bleeder screw, and then come up here and make sure you maintain at least 10 psi on here until all of the old fluid and air is out of that caliper. Okay, we got a special catch bottle here because Desi's got every tool or freaking apparatus you can imagine. But all you need is really a tube that will dump into a container to catch your fluid. So now I'm going to break the bleeder screw loose, and because it's got pressure on the system up there, it should start filling up this bottle with old contaminated fluid. Actually, it's leaking here and not coming out up there. Let me get this loose. Okay, now you see the fluid flowing into the bottle. It's the old fluid. It's flowing pretty slow, Desi. Let me open it up a little more. See if it can flow a little faster. But because you got pressure up there, it'll keep flowing out until it airs out of the system. And as you can see, it's filling up there. So you'll know that you're where you need to be as far as the fluid transfer when the color changes. Now the pressure is going down here, and it's pumping a little bit of fluid into the reservoir, but the reservoir has a high enough level that it's not pushing air down into the brake system. So you just kind of let that go. Make sure you keep 10 psi up here, and you should be good to go. Let me go check the back, see if any air or anything is coming out back there. When you're using the system to bleed the furthest one away, you'll probably get the most fluid out of this one because it's got the longest travel. So be a little patient and let it do its thing, and when you see the color change, you should be good. So it's slowly filling up this bottle, and I'm checking the tank up front to make sure I keep the 10 psi on it. I'm about to open this right front caliper. You see the dark color in the fluid? It's just barely open and kind of a lot of air in it. So you'll be able to see this one change color when the bleeder gets it all the way down here. We had a little dirty, now it's clearing up. We're just going to let it fill this bottle up just to make sure we got fresh fluid from the reservoir out to this bottle here. Okay, the front is done. All of them are done. So you crack the cap loose to get the pressure off. Now you got to remove that, so you want to put a rag under there to catch any fluid that tries to come out of there. And then you want to get your level in your reservoir correct. So you'll want to leave your little catch can hooked up to the caliper and bleed it down until your level is at the max slot. Only a little bit leaked when we pulled that cap off, but it is maxed out. So I'm going to have somebody go inside and pump the brakes while I have this bleeder open on this front caliper until we get that level down to the max line. When you buy that power bleeder, it comes with these bottles here, but Desi wanted to get the magnetic one so he wouldn't have to wrestle around, and it is pretty nice being able to stick it on anything like that. Now those do come with a hanger system, so that's pretty much it. After we took the bleeder off, we bled the fluid down to the max line. We're going to put the cap on. It's good to go, all finished. Next we're going to remove this headlight and replace it. Alright, this is the headlight with the cracked lens, and that's the reflective material that was on the one on the car behind it. As you can see, it's really dull. This headlight could not have been projecting any light out on the road because the reflective material is what sends that light out there. Here's the replacement one that we have, and we have it torn apart because it actually has a broken mount on the top that we're going to have to fix. I don't know if this is an actual Volvo assembly or not. At any rate, we're going to try to move this reflector over to this assembly because this assembly appears to be in better condition. This other piece had a few issues, especially with the wiring harness. So I just decided to put a screw in the back of that post that was broken. The rest of it seems to be in great shape. It is a hella assembly, so that's probably OEM. But when you pop these out, make sure you pop out that adjustment screw holding that stuff in place so you don't break that. And then you got a little clip up top there, and then you got a clip there that broke on this one, but I was able to stick a screw in the back side of it, so any screw will do. That's how the post is supposed to look that broke off of this other light assembly, if that comes in focus there. But the other light assembly just had a few issues, so we're going to leave that alone. Put the good lens back on this and go ahead and get it installed. The owner got the improper cable to run from inside the vehicle to the driver's side latch. The cable he received was the one that mates the latches from the driver's side to the passenger side. Now he does have some bicycle cable. You create your own, so we're going to make our own cable out of this. You can see the string of it hanging down there. The problem is the bicycle in here is a different size that fits in the handle, so we're just going to drill this handle open until we can get that in and go ahead and feed this into the existing cable sleeve and go from there. Okay, I took the cable assembly, mounted it back. I routed out a space to get the cable in there. I ran the cable through the adjuster guide It fed right through the cable sleeve nice and easy because I just pulled it out. Now this cable assembly kit for these bicycle cables, somewhere between $8 and $10, but that comes from the owner of this vehicle as a source, and I don't think he really pays attention to how much money he's spending on this stuff, so don't take that as gospel. So the cable comes right up out of here. You want to get that in through your latch assembly. Then you feed the cable through this little locking chamber. You unscrew it with an Allen tool. Once you get it adjusted where you want it, you tighten it back up with the Allen tool, and you should be good to go. So let me do that, shoot a little picture of it, and test it. The end of this bicycle cable contraption is a little bigger than the normal end, so we actually had to roto-root out some of the housing on this latch assembly. And as you can see, this says left hand visible, and then over here it says right hand visible. So these latches are actually reversible. But at any rate, with this extra space here, it'll let this throw far enough so the latch can lock. Because when you have it released, if it don't go up that way far enough, it won't let the latch lock. Got the hood latch cable in. Because we grinded away a little of this plastic housing to get that jerry-rig bicycle cable in here, we messed up the cable's ability to slave the other latch on the other side. So we zip tied the cable housing to the shroud and on both sides, two here, two there. That seems to be keeping it in play. We have not closed the hood to test it to see if it will open the hood. So here comes a big test for closing and opening the hood. This hood hadn't been closed in weeks. I'm going to go ahead and close it. It's latched on this side. It's latched on this side. Now the owner's going to pull it. And it doesn't seem to be unlatching. Oh yeah, it unlatched. He just didn't hear the latches pop because that's how 70 series cars go. So it seems to be working good. Let me reach under here and open the hood. I'm gonna close the hood again. And driver's side is latched. Passenger side latch is out of adjustment a little bit, but it is latched. Pull the cable one more time. Just like the normal click, not too hard, pull. And the hood is open, so it's good to go. Last but not least, before the test drive, we're going to install the rear tow hitch, and this car will be done as far as I'm concerned, and the owner will take care of all the other 342 things that need to be done to it. Nice little puff of smoke.
Are you going to give me any signals? Where do you go?
Get on there. What are you doing?
I thought we went up.
No, you about a third of the way up.
Oh, man.
Quit freaking power braking and back it up on there. I'm recording this on YouTube, so this is going to be blackmail material. Now you got to close the hatch, you got to move that, like all that matters. Alright, he's good. And the car is actually rolling. It drives. So it has a little bit of power. It seems to be working fine. So we're buttoning this one up and moving on to the next project. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.